but that's it. You know what I mean? And this is it's just very different genres of metal all the way around.
Yes.
And that's really what stood out to me. And then you have You're Not Alone, which is right after Dying Hearts, and that kind of gets things back on track to more of a power metal sound, a lot of double bass. And it was on this song especially that from a keyboard standpoint, I really picked out what the keys really add to your music, that it's not over the top, it's not clearly being the center of attention, but really what it's adding to every track. And You're Not Alone is one of the first songs that made me go, wow. The last 4 songs I've heard have it, and this one does too, of just a great example of not being over the top. Hey, here's keyboards in your face. But yet it adds a lot to the track especially.
Then you'll be interested to know that this song was written 100% on keyboards on a tour bus. All
on
of
a
it was
tour
written.
bus?
Yes, we were sitting. I was sitting up front in the lounge area of the tour bus. We were doing the Gamma Ray tour, and it was an early morning, and I decided I needed to write a song, so I wrote it. And it was written entirely on keyboards.
Wow!
Now, what was that like touring with Gamma Ray? I have to know.
It was a lot of fun. It was probably the smoothest, support tour we've ever done. With really friendly people, everything just worked out the way it should. So yeah,
good. Well, Jason, if you don't mind, I got a couple of things.
No, fire away, man. Go ahead.
I loved, As Long As I'm Alive. I think it's a great track. Castor Skies is awesome. Dying Hearts, I agree with Jason totally. Just a great track. Very AOR friendly radio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just has that catchy
definitely.
chorus. If I have one criticism of this album, and I'm just going to be true to who I am.
Be true to who you are. What else can you be?
Is that if there's one criticism, it's that it's so short.
But it's not really. It's only short if you're going by the standard edition, which to us in the band, we consider that to be the ship it out to Walmart edition. Really, because that's it is. The decision was made in talks with AFM, so the band is just as much to blame for this as anybody else. It's a business decision, but we were consulted and we agreed. We said that for this one, we did the same thing for the first one. We made a short one and a longer one. The short one, we said, this goes out to, in Europe, of course, to the equivalent of Walmart. And that was the plan for people that don't want to spend too much money because we're a new band. Whereas to us, the full album is really the 15 or 16 track versions.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right.
So, and in this case, you can blame a little bit. We probably would have put one more song on the shorter one, but it's really down to me. I was not feeling too good, so I couldn't quite meet the deadline. So we stuck with what we had. Because quite frankly, there are like out of the bonus tracks that I don't consider to be bonus tracks, there are at least 3 tracks that I consider to be essential to this release. So the special edition is the only way to go.
Which tracks of those would be the like must-haves if you had to do it all over again that you would?
The Life That You Want, This Machine Is Broken, and Hello Moon.
Oh, cool. We'll definitely have to make sure we check those out
You
specifically.
got to check those out.
And what's funny, Urban, is actually my local Walmart has a huge display of Sirius Black's Mirrorworld album right in the middle by the like the Xbox games and stuff like that. So it is the
maybe
Walmart.
It's working.
Exactly. They must. Your marketing plan did work certainly. But kind of going back to the actual title track, Mirrorworld, which, as a Dio fan, I was just smiling ear to ear within the first 30 seconds of this song. I mean, to me, I just got it's there's a lot more melody than I guess your typical Dio track, but to me, that's what it said to me, at least when I heard the song. And right up there with Dying Hearts is one of my favorite songs on the album, actually.
Oh.
And I think of all the songs vocally on the album, my favorite vocal performance of yours as well on Mirrorworld. That's just my 2 cents. I don't know what you thought about that, Biv, but I think you absolutely kill it on that song.
Then I'm going to have to ask you, because this makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
You've actually enjoyed stuff like Modus Vivendi before, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Because the reason why I sing this song exactly like it is because I wrote this song to be part of the follow-up for Modus Vivendi.
Well, that makes sense then.
So when I came back to this song, I upped the tempo a bit, presented it to the guys, we recorded it, and I sang it pretty much in the style I would have done back then.
Yeah.
And this is why.
It's really well done. It's really well done. And like I said, out of all the... I mean, dude, vocally, and I'm not saying this because you're on the show, you're an incredible singer, but of all the songs on this album, that's the one song with my headphones on, I went, whoa. Urban kills it on this track. So that's the one I thought.
Well, thank you so much. But, the credit doesn't go all to me. I wrote the song, but the way Bob made the pre-production of it, he worked it up to such a level that it's absolutely great. I love it.
Very cool.
On top of this, I would also point out that Alex's drumming is wonderful on it.
Yeah, no, certainly. It just musically, what's amazing to me, and this will get us a little bit off subject of the review here, but as... to your point, obviously this is Mario's vision of, gathering a band of people who know what the hell they're doing. You can tell. I mean, for a band who's recorded essentially 2 albums at this point, and recording it, separately, let's be real, to sound as tight as you guys are, is pretty incredible. You can tell that you're obviously incredibly polished and incredibly experienced and just kick-ass metal musicians, because it really shows. On this album especially.
Well, thank you. that's all I can say about that. Thank you so much. I'm happy to hear it.
Let me make it a little tougher on you, Urban.
Awesome.
Okay, so obviously it's incredibly difficult sometimes to separate yourself from your own work. And I get that.
Yeah.
What is the one thing you're really proud of on Mirrorworld? And the one thing you look at and you go, I wish we would have done this.
That's a good question. I'll tell you right now, I wish we would have done this, and that is actually replace the keyboards in the opening for The Unborn Never Die for acoustic guitars, which is exactly what I said when I wrote it. I want acoustic guitars, and I wanted Dominic to write the piece. He didn't have the time, and so it's my original keyboards on it. They're fine. It's not bad. It's just that it would have. I wanted a little bit of a more. I wanted a more sparkle, like you can get from a really good acoustic guitar. And I wanted some more color, not just my input. That's it. That's that part. And what am I absolutely super proud of? I am really proud of, because the one thing I changed between my demo, other than speeding up Mirrorworld, was that I rewrote the bridge leading into the chorus, and I'm very proud of that part.
Yeah, it's a absolutely killer track. And speaking of Unborn Never Die, again, like we talked about, kicking off the album in the right way with tracks like As Long As I'm Alive, closing it out at least on the Walmart version of the Unborn Never Die. I really, really like this track, and I actually get a lot of, like a old school Ed Guy feel almost to it to me. Maybe
cool.
That's because of the keys. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
A very killer way to close out the album, especially. So I'm a big bookends fan, man. The last thing I want to hear better kick ass, and the thing that starts the album better kick ass as well. And I think you guys did a really good job of that. As far as like tracks, I think that the only track to me, as far as the ones that kind of fell flat in my world. If I'm being honest, at least in my ear, the only song that I don't know if it necessarily is bad, but it just doesn't fit, or maybe it's just me, and maybe it'll grow on me over time. But Heartbroken Soul to me was, it just didn't work. At least I'm not saying it's a bad track. It just didn't. Maybe it's because your Dying Hearts is after that, and I don't know what it is, but that was just my opinion there.
Could be. You never know.
Yeah,
I'll tell you this though: if we play it live, you'll love it.
Well, that's it. Well, I guess that's what needs to happen then, Urban. You're just going to have to play it live.
That's what I'm saying. It's got that swagger.
Biv and I live in Indiana, so you'll just have to come here and just perform the show live.
Now,
we'll actually have you here in the Kensington Place studios. It's very spacious. And we could certainly do that. Yeah, Biv's been here, so he knows. But standout tracks to me, Castor Skies kicks ass, so great call. Dying Hearts, Mirrorworld, and The Unborn Never Die. Those are my top 4 on the album as far as the songs that stand out to me as really killer tracks. I've talked a lot, Biv. What are your thoughts on Mirrorworld as a whole?
Okay, before I give my total thoughts and my score, we've never done this before, as Jason had said earlier. What's your score? 1 to 10. Where do you put this album in the annals of metal history, 1 to 10. 10 being just instant classic, like Appetite for Destruction, instant classic. 1 being horrid, something that, Opeth just released.
Wow.
Where are you at?
I can't really use your albums as examples, because if I do that, then it's really going to turn things upside down.
See, I would agree with what Urban just said there. I wouldn't say that Sorceress is a 1,
but
I wouldn't say that Appetite for Destruction is a 10. So,
but I see what you mean. I will simply say that this is easily 8.5 to 9 in my book, simply because the songs are so good.
Well,
very good. Now, hold on, Jason. You've been talking a lot.
That's fine. Shut up. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right. So I agree with Jason. Heartbroken Soul's the one song that I picked out, and I went, this doesn't fit. It's a good song, and I think reworked over time could fit into something different, but not this. But that being said, and my criticism about it being about 40 minutes, which is, I've heard EPs that were about 34 minutes.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm going to give this an 8.5. So I'm right there where you are. I think it is an incredibly good CD. And any serious metal fan, anybody who calls themselves a metal fan or a hard rock fan, this CD belongs in their collection. Well, so there's my score.
The one thing to know, Urban, again, I know you're a huge fan of the podcast, so you already know this, but just in case, again, let's just pretend this is the first time you hear this talk. When we do our show, when we do reviews, when we talk news, when we talk all of this, little background for you at least, and those who've listened to the show, they know this. Biv and I have been fans for a long time, well before we did a podcast. 2 dudes who are metalheads that talk metal all the time. So whenever we do a show, the only thing that we do is we're going to review these albums. That's it. There's no conversation. There is no behind the scenes, hey, so what are you going to give it? None of that. We wanted to make it as authentic as possible. No BS. These are 2 dudes talking metal, and here's what it is. And I shit you not, my score for Mirrorworld is 8.5 as well. And it's not because you all said it, and it's not because Biv said it, but I felt that I had to qualify that by at least saying what I said just now before I said 8.5. Because
come on, admit it. You just fell for peer pressure.
No, it's true. No, it's
not.
That's
it.
That's actually what it is. No, but it's a really, really good album. And especially, and this is why we said what we said in the beginning, if for some reason power metal isn't your thing, which I don't know why it wouldn't be, but let's just for some stupid reason say that I'm not a big power metal fan, and maybe your opinion of power metal is Rhapsody of Fire and Stradivarius, and that's what you think power metal is, and so from there you won't listen to anything else power metal. Who knows? Whatever.
It can be so much more.
Oh, absolutely. But on top of that, it's not, at least in my opinion, fair to say that Sirius Black is a power metal band. Because if you listen to Mirrorworld, hell yes, there's some power metal tracks, but no way in hell is it it's another power metal song. No way. It's a very eclectic mix of tracks on this album, and some of my favorites don't sound anything like power metal at all, with the exception of Castor Skies.
Yeah. But, in that regard, it's very Avantasia-like. So many elements of so many genres with so many different tastes and angles.
Well, it's hardly surprising, because really what we set out to do was just write good songs, and we didn't really care what kind of song it was.
Well, that's the right approach to take with it is, hey, this song is great. I don't really care what genre you would call it. It kicks ass. It's catchy. It's headbang worthy. It's great stuff. So, we're in unison with our reviews of Mirrorworld from Sirius Black, 8.5, even from Urban himself. So there you go. So, Urban, before we let you go, and thank you so much, man. This has been obviously a long interview, because not only did we have the typical interview, but you were part of our review of the album. But for what's obviously going on now that you just got off a tour with Sirius Black, how can fans stay in touch with you, with the band, social media? Just plug whatever you want to plug, man. How can people get a chance to check out more about the things you're involved in, and obviously Sirius Black as well?
If it's just me, look me up on Facebook. My name is Urban Breed. You'll find me. Same thing with the band Sirius Black. Look us up. We're there. And if you want to know anything else, ask me. I'll be there.
Very cool.
All right. Well, simple enough. Now, Urban, one thing that I have to ask about is Project Arcadia